Hi, my name is Noveline Kaur, and I'm a student here at St. John's University, majoring in Information Technology. As a student here, I have hesitated to take certain classes because I didn't have enough information on the courses. This is a problem that numerous classmates of mine have complained about to me for over 3 years. Today, I will be showing you a website I have created to solve this problem. This here is my website, which will soon become one of St. John's most used sites. It is a course finder. Now, how do we use it? It's really simple. The user will first select what they want to search, either course code, the title, or the instructor, and they enter that information in the search bar here. Then they can select a level with the drop-down here, either undergraduate or graduate, and finally they could click here to the search button to find the courses. They can either enter one part or both informations for more defined and efficient results. Let me demonstrate for you. So I'm a student and I'm not sure exactly what course I want, but I know that I want something to do with software. So I click title and I enter software as a keyword. And then for level, I'll select undergraduate. I search, and these are the results that come up. So there's 5 courses found, and these are the courses. You can see that the title contains the word software, which was the keyword that I entered, and all of them contain it. And all the levels show undergraduate, which is what I selected. So you can do both, or to change it up, let's remove the level, and instead I'll just put the instructor. So I know this is a professor that I want to take. I don't know exactly what class I want to take for him, so I search to see what classes he teaches, and there are 7 courses found. All of them have different codes, titles, and levels, graduate, undergraduate over here, but they have one thing in common, which is the instructor that I typed in. So now that you got to see a demonstration of the website, I will be showing an overview of my code structure. So let's go to code. Starting with how I organize my files, there's a public folder. This includes all the front end. So it includes the HTML, there is the CSS here, and the JavaScript. So this whole folder is the front end. And outside of the public folder is the database, which is a JSON, and 2 JavaScript files, which is the server and the API routes. So starting with the front end, let's go to the HTML. Starting from the top, I have imported Bootstrap here, and this is my own custom CSS that I have linked. And other links I have included in the HTML, let's go to the bottom, is the handlebar. There's the jQuery and my own custom JavaScript file that I showed before. So back to the top, when we look at the content, on the top I have a image, which is the logo, the course finder logo, and this is the route to the image that I have. For the content itself, I have used a Bootstrap grid system, which includes the containers, the rows, and the columns. This makes the site mobile responsive and more organized. Another Bootstrap, I used a class from them, Bootstrap class called Offset, which centered the columns horizontally, which it added an offset of 2. I have also used the Bootstrap forms. This is the first form that I used, and it includes the radio inputs that allow the user to select a type of search, which was, as we saw on the website, course code, title, or the instructor. The user had to pick between these three. And then they had to put that information in a search bar that I also got from Bootstrap. Another form I used here for the level dropdown, part of Bootstrap, and I gave the two options of undergraduate and graduate in there. And finally, as you saw on the site, there's a submit button, which I got from Bootstrap as well, and I named it search. And moving on, I created here a container which will load the handlebars template for the search results, and here's the handlebar template itself that I created for each course's search results. Inside, you see there's a display number of results is here that we saw on the site on the demonstration, and here is a loop that goes through all the courses and displays the information in a list. Here are the links again. So this is the overview of the HTML. Next, let's go to the JavaScript. Now let's go to CSS, which is really simple. I just added a background color, and I centered the logo image and added a margin top to the container to create a space between the image and the content itself. And the last thing for the front end is the JavaScript. And inside the JavaScript, this here makes sure that the page is loaded before running the code. And this here is a empty array that stores all the searched courses within. Moving on, this is this here checks for when the form is submitted, and there's an event here that prevents the page from refreshing because refreshing restarts the code. These variables here grab the information from the inputs, and this here sets up a default API route for the radio buttons, which you can see in the URL. It'll show the API, and then it'll show the search type, which is by instructor, the course code or the title, and whatever the user searched, which in this case, as the example, I put the professor's name on Poya. If nothing is being searched, this displays an error message, which is an alert here. And if a level is selected but nothing is put in the search bar, then it uses the API here for just the level searching. And if both the level and there is something being searched, if both of them are applied, then there's a combined query API route that is used that I'll talk more about in the backend. Here I have a fetch. After the proper API route is selected, I used the fetch here to send an API GET request to the specified route, and then it waits for the response here from the backend and then grabs the data. And this sets the courses array to the array sent from the backend. This was an empty array. And this runs course view function to display the search results on the page. And if you remember, this is the template that we created in the HTML. This grabs the HTML, the handlebars template from the HTML, and then it handlebar compiles that template here and sends the data to the template. And if the user didn't enter anything, then the course, or if nothing comes up based on whatever the user entered, the array will be the array length will be 0. So, and then it will give a message which displays no results found. And finally, there's a query selector here that replaces the course widgets HTML with the new course results or the no results found message. So this is an overview of the JavaScript. Now that we're done with the front end, let's move on to the back end. We have here the database, which is the courses JSON that was provided. It has all the objects with the information about all the courses. And the two JavaScript files that I have made in the backend. First is the server.js, which has all the requiring packages and the requiring API routes files. And this here allows the static content within the public folder to load. And this allows for other sites to use my project's resources like Heroku and Netlify. And this connects Express to API routes file. This here is a get route for the index HTML, and finally this starts the app itself. So this was the server.js, and more importantly, there's the API routes JavaScript. This is really important. This here, starting from the top, this loads the Express. It's loading the Express, and this is grabbing the database that I showed you earlier. And this here, I created a get route to allow searching for the course code. This is just for the course code here, this whole section. And so this here is the get route that I created. And then there's also, this here allows the API route to be case insensitive, the two uppercase. So if the user searches something either with lowercase or uppercase, it wouldn't change the results. This here is an empty array for the courses found in the database. This is a loop looping through all the courses to see if all the criteria that the user put in were met. And finally, this sends the JSON array as response to the requester. And this setup I did not just for the course code, but also for the other options, including the title here, the instructor name right here, and there's the level, which they all have the same setup. And finally, we have the combined query that I talked about earlier. I created a get route here for the combined query, which allows the user to send the type of request, the search, and the level itself. And you can see over here too. So this here grabs the type of search, the search and the level for the URL. And just like the setup that we did for the others, it's the same setup here. There is an empty array and a loop. And again, just like at the top, it sends a JSON array as a response to the requester for the combined query too. So overall, this is the code overview, and I showed you guys the front end and the back end. So to conclude, I want to remind you how this website, a course finder, is a very important and useful tool for students here at St. John's University. So thank you so much for your time, and hope you have a great day.